In the headlines, National Association of Resident Doctors declare total and indefinite strike action. NLC set to begin nationwide strike action on August 2nd over fuel price hike. Bandits attack Zamfara community, kills 7 soldiers. And on the foreign scene, Ghana's parliament votes to abolish the death penalty. Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Right, we'll begin the update in Lagos as the National Association of Resident Doctors has declared a total and indefinite strike action. The association revealed this in a statement on Tuesday evening. The resident doctors listed their demands to include the immediate payment of the 2023 Medical Residency Training Fund, the immediate release of the circular on one-on-one replacement, and the payment of skipping arrears. The list also noted the upward review of CONMES salary structure in line with full salary restoration of the 2014 value of CONMES, the payment of the arrears of consequential adjustment of the minimum wage to the omitted doctors, and the reversal of the downgrading of the membership certificate by the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. Other demands are the payment of new hazard allowance, skipping and implementation of corrected CONMES in state tertiary health institutions, and the payment of omitted hazard allowance arrears. The strike comes after the association on July 5th issued a 2-week ultimatum to the federal government for the implementation of all its demands. In an attempt to avert the strike, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, on Monday held deliberations with the leadership of the NARD behind closed doors. Following the private talks, Abbas promised to meet the President to avert the industrial action of the resident doctors and announced the setup of an ad hoc committee to meet with all the stakeholders and address the matter. The Speaker also appealed to the NARD to give the House leadership a 2-week period to find solutions to the issues raised. Now, in a similar vein, the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC has given the federal government a 7-day ultimatum to reverse all perceived anti-poor policies, including the recent price hike of PMS, or face an indefinite strike action on August 2nd. Reports say that the union has directed all its affiliates and state councils to immediately begin mobilization of workers and other Nigerians, including civil society allies, for long-lasting strike action and mass protests should the government fail to meet its demands. According to the reports, the ultimatum was given after decisions to begin the strike was reached at NLC's Central Working Committee meeting on Tuesday in Abuja. Now, 7 soldiers have been reportedly killed in an ambush by bandits in Zamfara State. The bandits were said to have attacked the Kangon Garache community under the Dangulbi district of the Maru local government area of Zamfara State on Monday afternoon, killing several soldiers and residents. A resident in the community, Lawal Dangulbi, confirmed the incident on Tuesday, saying that the troops were responding to a distress call about the attack on the community when they fell into the bandits' ambush. According to him, no fewer than 20 residents of the community were killed during the attack. The Nigerian Army authorities in Zamfara State are yet to comment on the incident. 7 soldiers of the Nigerian Army were killed during the attack on Monday, and Zamfara State is one of the states worst hit by banditry. Others include Kaduna, Katsina, Kebbi, Niger State, and Sokoto. Despite efforts by security agencies and the respective state governments, the government have continued to wreak havoc, killing many and destabilizing the peace in various communities. In other news, the Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee has hiked the monetary policy rate from 18.50% to 18.75%. The decision by the MPC was disclosed by the acting governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Folashodun Shinobi, in Abuja. Trust TV correspondent reports that although the committee's decision was based on several factors, reining in Nigeria's rising inflation rate was top on the agenda. The report.
The first MPC meeting under the President Tinubu administration has been highly anticipated as the committee met for the 292nd meeting to decide whether to take a hold, tighten or loose stance. While keeping in mind several factors such as global and national inflation, subsidy removal, the Russia-Ukraine war, amongst others, the committee said it had only two options, which was to either take a hold or tighten stance. It, however, chose the latter.
The MPR voted to raise the policy rate by 25 basis points from 18.5 to 18.75%.
The latest hike by the NPC will be the 8th consecutive hike within 1 year. This comes despite several warnings by experts and international financial organizations advising the CBN not to use rate hikes as a means of taming Nigeria's inflation. When posed with a question on why the decision to tighten the monetary policy rate since Nigeria's inflation had continued on an upward trend, the acting CBN governor said retaining the hikes has helped to moderate inflationary pressures.
In addition to interest rate hikes, we've also come up with various ways to tighten the liquidity, because we believe that if the liquidity surfeit actually runs across not just inflation, but also has some impact on the exchange rate and other parts of the economy. So I can confirm that it is not only rate change that we're looking at to moderate inflation.
Shonobi also addressed Nigeria's current forex challenges as well as the Naira redesign policy.
We believe that we have an optimal level of the currency out there. So more of what's being done is replacement to keep the level rather than just putting out money out there. Slowly and over time you will see have the old notes replaced out of the system with the new notes that will be the norm. The volatility you are seeing would normalize. The role of the central bank is to intervene and keep the market at a fairly stable level. We have our views as to what that level is, and as the market continues to oscillate around that level, if there's a need for us to intervene either by buying or selling, that's the role of the central bank.
The NPC also decided to adjust the asymmetric corridor to plus 100 minus 300 basis points around the NPR from plus 100 minus 700 basis points, retaining the CRR at 32.5% and retained the liquidity ratio at 30%. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission has kicked against the use of incumbency factor to muzzle opposition and shrink the political space in the country. The warning is coming ahead of the off-season governorship elections in Imo, Kogi and Bayelsa states. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who raised a concern at a meeting with stakeholders and political parties, also announced the revalidation of the registration of the Youth Party in compliance with the Supreme Court order, bringing the total number of political parties to 19. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
The election management body, civil society groups and other stakeholders condemned the use of state machinery by incumbent office holders to muzzle opposition, especially ahead of off-season elections in Imo, Kogi and Bayelsa states, asking political actors to call their supporters to order.
Sadly, there are already disturbing reports of clashes between opposing parties with claims and counter-claims of innocence or culpability. These claims help no one. Call your supporters to order.
While admitting that the electoral management body encountered challenges in the conduct of the polls, Yakubu believes that with collaboration and understanding of the critical stakeholders, the challenges are not insurmountable. Speaking on behalf of political parties in Nigeria, Chairman Interparty Advisory Council IPAC, Yabagi Sani, says there must be a collective resolve to improve and enhance the democratic space.
Two major opposition parties, the PDP and the Labour Party, as well as three other political parties, disagreed with the outcome of the elections and have since gone to the Presidential Election Petition Court to challenge the outcome of the election, inconsistent with the norms and values of the electoral process. We commend them for following the path of law. However, we really hope that the decision of the court will not be based on some perverse public policy rationale or technicalities, but rather on reasoned and a reasonable interpretation of substantive and procedural law. What Nigeria needs now is fairness, equity, and justice.
The meeting draws participants from the 18 political parties and the newly registered Youth Party, YP, whose registration was sanctioned by the Supreme Court recently. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who reviews the process and conduct of the 2023 elections, acknowledged contributions of both political parties and other stakeholders for the success of the exercise. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee investigating job racketeering and gross mismanagement of the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPPIs, in Nigeria from 2015 to date on Tuesday resumed sitting at the National Assembly. The probe, however, turned chaotic when federal commissioners and directors from the Federal Character Commission contradicted themselves over the veracity of the claim that the chairman of the commission, Muhyiddin Dankaka, was unavailable due to ill health. Here's the report.
Character Commission (FCC) Commissioner for Taraba State, Armayau Abubakar, had earlier tendered a letter sent to the committee stating that the FCC chairman Muhyiddin Dankaka was absent due to a doctor's appointment. This disclosure drew outrage from federal lawmakers who condemned the action of the chairman.
So that the chairman of the committee of the commission, Dr. Mrs. Muhyiddin Dankaka, will appear in person with all the 36 commissioners or 37 commissioners for 37. What? Okay, 36 commissioners, because one of the commissioners is already a member of the House of Representatives. And Obenyi is also on medical leave.
Federal Character Commission, Dankaka, as I speak, then she was in the office. And she's very okay. And these letters, the claim they gave to them were given to them. All of them were in our office this morning before they all came here.
The ad hoc committee chairman, Yusuf Gagdi Adamu, in a unanimous decision adopted by the committee, summoned the FCC chairman Muhyiddin Dankaka and the 37 commissioners across the state to appear before the committee by 11 a.m. on Wednesday, July 26th, with necessary documents and records to aid the ad hoc committee in its investigation.
We can do that. Your colleagues are saying 12 o'clock. So she had the right to go and see her doctor, come back to the office and continue working. But she doesn't have the energy to appear before this committee and make representation. Why did she take government appointment? So two things. She will come here or she compromise the office. We need her and her commissioners tomorrow by 11 o'clock. Please.
The committee, however, assured that its mandate is not to witch hunt but to stop institutional corruption in the public service.
Now, the Nigerian passport has risen 9 places in the latest global passport rankings. In the recently released Henley Passport Index for the second quarter of 2023, the Nigerian passport rose from its previous 100th position to 91st among the 199 countries and 227 travel destinations studied. The Henley Passport Index assesses the strength of world passports based on the number of destinations its holders can access without a prior visa. The latest ranking indicates improved global access for Nigerians. However, the number of countries accessible without visas or with visa on arrival remain at 46. We're watching the news update on Trust TV. Still to come, we take a look at the challenges of research output across the academia in Nigeria. Details coming up after the break.
Hello and welcome to Book Review on Trust TV, where we talk to African and international authors.
You see, if you're reading a Chinua Achebe book, you can almost hear the Igbo behind the English.
From memory, I was able to come up with that. Of course, I also had to do research. You know, I tried to tie it to colonial era. I wanted to show the impact they had in on the Fulani culture when they came.
Teacher librarians are those who are librarians, but they also teach. They teach the use of library, the use of books. Because if you don't teach, these children, make it part of them, they will not be in love with it. And then you have to select, the kind of book that would encourage them to read.
All right, welcome back to the news update on Trust TV. Thank you very much for staying with us. Here's a quick recap of our top stories at this hour. The National Association of Resident Doctors has declared a total and indefinite strike action. The NLC is set to begin nationwide strike action on August 2nd over fuel price hike in Nigeria. Moving on to some of the day's other news, the Enugu state government has said that it has sealed no fewer than 106 shops and 2 banks in the state for allegedly observing Monday's sit-at-home order imposed by a factional leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Simon Ekpa. Governor Peter Mbah says all the sealed businesses would remain sealed for 1 week, after which the administration would consider either reopening them on certain conditions or sealing them off completely. The governor, in a statement by the secretary to the state government, Professor Chidiebere Onya, says the action was in line with the governor's warning, adding that the intention was not to punish the businesses, but to encourage and inculcate the spirit of no sit-at-home orders to traders. Now, funding research in Nigerian universities remains a challenge affecting productivity and outputs from the academic community across the country, which continues to hinder the scope of research work. Experts at a 3-day research training in Bayero University in Kano argue that strengthening writing skills of early researchers will significantly improve Nigeria's education system. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports.
These are doctorate degree holders of different fields of studies from various universities and research centers across the country. They are believed to have obtained all the necessary knowledge and perfected all theoretical aspects of conducting research on their areas of expertise. But their writing skills to access funds is highly questionable.
The purpose of this workshop is to develop the capacity of junior academics, particularly the so-called early career researchers in Nigerian universities. Early career researchers are researchers who are considered to be in the first 5 years of their research career.
Worried over the increasing threat of productivity and output of the nation's educational institutions occasioned by the research challenges, Bayero University Kano, through its Directorate of Research, Innovation and Partnership, is aiming to ensure that researchers will henceforth be able to access both foreign and domestic research grants.
Every single society has issues and challenges. The only way to find answers to these issues and challenges is through research. So this just shows how important it is for us to be able to conduct research. And one of the ways to get funding for research is to be able to access grants.
By this exercise, researchers in Nigerian universities are expected to strengthen their writing skills, be able to develop a research proposal for possible funding, and come up with various research programs to further enhance the nation's educational system.
So what we actually expect from this workshop is to be able to get research grants and then to be able to move our centers and institutes forward.
My expectation is that at the end of the workshop I should be well equipped with how to go about writing a research proposal and then subsequently win a grant.
Within the next 3 days, these early researchers will be trained on issues relating to research problem and objectives analysis, research project rescheduling and budget justification, as well as preparing early researchers for leadership roles across the nation's universities and other educational institutions. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has directed banks to vacate a post-no-debit restriction placed on the bank accounts of 440 individuals and companies. A post-no-debit means that all debit transactions, including ATMs and checks on the accounts, have been blocked but can receive inflows. Now, the circular signed by A.M. Barrow on behalf of the CBN Director of Banking Supervision on Tuesday also instructed banks to notify the concerned customers of the development. The companies on the list include Bamboo System Technology Limited, SKL Oil and Gas Limited, Rise Vest Technologies Limited, Chaka Technologies Limited, Aboki FX Limited, NaraBet International, Northwood Energy Services and Poport Marine Limited, among many others. Now, the Apex Bank did not state any reason for this action. On the international scene, Ghana's parliament has voted to abolish the death penalty, making the country the latest of several African nations that have moved to repeal capital punishment in recent years. No one has been executed in Ghana since 1993, although 176 people were on the death row, at least as of last year, according to data from the Ghana Prison Service. According to a parliamentary committee report, the new bill will amend the state's Criminal Offences Act to substitute life imprisonment for the death penalty. President Nana Akufo-Addo still has to assent for the law to take effect. Ghana is the 29th country to abolish the death penalty in Africa and the 24th globally, according to the Death Penalty Project, a London-based non-governmental organization that says it works alongside partners in Ghana to help change the law. Equatorial Guinea, Sierra Leone, Central African Republic, and Zambia are among the latest African states to have ended capital punishment in the last 2 years. Now let's turn our attention to developments in sports. And Lionel Messi scored twice and assisted once in his first start for Inter Miami in a 4-0 victory over Atlanta United. The Argentina star scored 2 goals inside the opening 22 minutes before setting up teammate Robert Taylor in the second half. His performance follows a match-winning stoppage-time free kick in his debut game last week. Messi, who is a 7-time Ballon d'Or winner, only trained with his teammates for the first time last week after moving to the Major League Soccer side following the end of his contract at Paris Saint-Germain. The 2022 World Cup winner scored 32 goals in 75 matches during a 2-year spell with the French champions and turned down lucrative offers from other countries to play in the United States. Messi opened the scoring in the 9th minute, firing home a rebound from his own shot after controlling the ball over the top from former Barcelona teammate and fellow new arrival Sergio Busquets. He doubled the lead 13 minutes later, combining with Finland midfielder Taylor to slot home a low cross from close range. Taylor added a third before halftime and before Messi put the 28-year-old through on a break in the second half to complete the scoring. The win saw Inter Miami move into the knockout stages of the League Cup. Still talking football, Wrexham FC beat 10-man Manchester United 3-1, but the newly promoted Premier League side was overshadowed by an injury to their talisman, Paul Mullin. Mullin, who is 28, suffered a punctured lung in a collision with goalkeeper Nathan Bishop, part of a United side mostly comprised of under-21 players. Goals from Elliot Lee, Aaron Hayden and Sam Delby sealed Wrexham's victory. Spanish 19-year-old Marc Jurado scored in the first half injury time for Manchester United, who had Dan Gore, 18 years of age, sent off shortly after the restart. Ryan Reynolds was unable to attend, but Wrexham co-owner Bob McNally was present to see his side earn a memorable win in front of a sold-out 32,248 crowd at the Snapdragon Stadium in California. United's boss Erik ten Hag, whose senior players have traveled on to Texas before tomorrow's match against Real Madrid, watched his youthful side's performance from the bench. Well, that's it. You're up to date with the latest news stories at this hour. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Feel free to follow us across our social media platform for more content, and for more news, check out our website, trusttv.com. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching.